Hey guys, welcome back to Brick System Brothers. It's time for HUWTAP number 14 now. We're going to look at these leaf pieces. These are relatively new to the LEGO stage. Right at the end of 2017, these started showing up on the shelves. I think they were originally designed for sets that showed up in 2018, but they did work their way into some Friends sets. And according to New Elementary, which we'll check in a minute, they were showing up right at the end of December there. So what has that been? Almost 2 years now. Surprisingly, these pieces have made their way into many sets already, but this is officially part number 32607. It's just a little 1x1 round plate thickness, and then there are 3 kind of frond shapes that spiral outwards from that. And as always, we're going to look at some of the background first on Bricklink, and then look at how this plays with the system. So here on Bricklink, we can see all this info, how it's categorized, the part number there, 32607. And there are currently 8 colors produced for this leaf element. We'll pop this out again and sort by sets. The most popular color is bright green, so the same color as most of our apples. Our apples only come in bright green, red, and now gold as well, but we're focusing on the leaf today. So bright green and green, not really surprising. This is kind of a foliage element, so we should expect to see that showing up in these leafy colors. And then in 11 sets we have this orange color, and it just goes steadily down from there. Only 2 sets have a yellow leaf. 2 sets have this dark azure one, possibly those Friends sets have this color here. And medium lavender, interesting color for a leaf, but can be used effectively. But yeah, the thing that I do want to take away from this is 133 sets already for a piece that's only been in the system 2 years, and already in 8 colors as well. That is, I think, a little bit above the standard for what you're going to see for newly introduced pieces, just 2 years old or less. Don't usually show up in that many sets. So already getting a pretty wide use here. Let's look at some of the sets that are using this a lot. This is a kind of a brand new, announced last month, the Christmas Wreath, and this has 40 in green. They're kind of on the inside rim here. This actually has 2 alternate builds, so a little bit of versatility here. Interesting set. A lot of leaf and plant elements if you're trying to stock up on those for some reason. Another one that does have quite a few is the roller coaster from 2017 or 2018. Right back around, actually when this piece was introduced, one of the first sets to use it was this coaster. It has 48 of them in green. The Chinese New Year Temple Fair, right here by the steps and kind of spread around, also has 28 of these, and this time we're looking at the light green ones. And another one with quite a few is the corner garage with 25. So these are kind of the 4 sets that do have the most of this element, but this element is also interesting because we have seen the green color. I think the green and the bright green have both been in the Pick-a-Brick wall in LEGO stores. So whenever you get elements in the LEGO store Pick-a-Brick wall, those are available in vast quantities, and that's actually good for the secondhand market because that will help keep the prices down. So at this point, if it's from the LEGO store, probably most sellers will still be saying it's new, but what you can do here that you can't do a lot of other places is bump this count way up, and you still have very low cost per item. So even though you're buying 1,000 of these, let's see what other colors here, bright green. Yeah, this store here has 1,000 in stock or more, but they're only going for 3 cents a piece. So just by being available on the LEGO wall, we're able to get large quantities of this element for projects. And that's cool because if you're going to build a really detailed tree, you are going to need quite a few of this leaf piece. Alright, the New Elementary, just quick thing to mention here is one other use besides leaf is as these webbed penguin feet here. I thought that was pretty good use for the piece, so I did want to include that. Keeping in mind, it's only, I think mostly the bright green, but also probably maybe the orange and the green as well have been showing up in the Pick-a-Brick walls. So definitely check that if you want large quantities before you go buying the sets just to get this one element. Okay, so enough looking online. Let's look at the actual piece here and what it can do. Like I mentioned, this is kind of based on a 1x1 round plate section here, and the actual leaf itself covers pretty much a 2x2 area of a Lego plate, and it's a plate thick, so you can stack these. Go ahead and build up this corner here so we can see just how much tolerance there is to play with. If you're going to be sticking it in a corner, there is just a tiny bit of room that you can get it to rotate, but I think more of that is just built into the piece so that it isn't too tight all the way around. Just looking at the actual height of the element, now back here on the stud it is a plate thick, but if I put a plate out at the end of the leaf and try to build down on that, now there is a little bit of a conflict in the system. So just looking at this third frond here at the center, that is up above where I would actually expect to see that, and these other two ones are pretty low actually. If you look at it right down along the edge of the plate, you can see those are pretty much touching the top of the studs out on those outside two, but that center one is actually up a little bit. So maybe a reason for that would be we could test and see if it's going to fit on top of a tile, because that's kind of what I was thinking at first. And at first glance that does seem to work out just fine, and you know, in all honesty it probably is, but when you rotate it off to the side and actually press this down all the way, it is apparent that there's just a tiny little bit of conflict there. So maybe this isn't a perfect system or a perfect legal connection, but it does work. Possibly one of the reasons why this middle leaf is up a little higher above the rest. So just keep that in mind when you're building. Really, if you're going to be using these individually on a surface, it's probably more for decoration. Like in the bookstore modular from this year, these are used down on the sidewalk to kind of resemble fallen leaves off of the birch tree in the model there. And the other thing that I want to mention here that relates to the system that I've kind of played around with to see, we'll build up our outside wall here again. So yeah, we have this 2x2 section, kind of a corner that it fits in. So obviously you could get 4 of these and arrange them around and kind of have a circular structure. But the other design function here, aside from this hitting the wall here or hitting the wall here, so that's kind of our constraints on the corner leaves. What is the constraint for the center leaf was another question that I had. And it is a little bit further back than it could be if we were just going for a 2x2 area to cover. But I was messing around with our circular plates and the radius there and discovered that it's actually a pretty much perfect fit from this inside corner to the radius of a 2 diameter shape like that. So, you know, another piece that would go here is our arch or our little corner brick. But yes, this exterior circumference of this size circle matches up just about perfectly with the center leaf on our piece, on our awesome piece for today. So HUWTAP number 14, looking at this leaf element. Again, if you want to build a really super detailed tree, it's now getting easier with pieces like this that do have kind of that leaf texture already built in. I would consider this a specialized piece, but it does have its uses outside of just leaves. And what's really nice is, like I mentioned, we're seeing this show up on the Pick-a-Brick wall in LEGO stores. So you can actually buy these in bulk now, just thousands at a time. Probably expect to pay about 3 cents a piece for those. I think that's how much you could get packed in a cup. Keep in mind, currently the employees are packing those cups for you if you go into the LEGO store, and it isn't guaranteed to be at every LEGO store either. A very nice piece, HUWTAP number 14, and we'll see you guys next time on Brick System Brothers.